one in the report. Welcome, everyone. South Russell Village Council meeting. Today is Monday, February the 10th. Would you all please rise, put your hand over your heart. The girls will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Fiscal officer will take the roll.
Canton.
Here.
Kavanaugh is absent. Galicki.
Here.
Porter. Here. Bell.
Here.
Berger.
Here. Okay, we have minutes from the January 27th council meeting. Any changes or corrections in the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes.
Motion by Porter, seconded by Canton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have been passed. We have visitors. We're going to drop down to the Properties Committee. Visitors. We have 6 different people who are going to speak. Number 1, the floor is yours. Just give us, do we need your name and address again? Okay, so give us your name and address and then read what you have to do.
I'm Charlotte Groove, 63 Hall Street in Spring Falls. We are Girl Scout Cadet Troop 71359. Our names are Evelyn, Stella, Charlotte, Avery, Jade, and Macy. We are here tonight on behalf of Service Unit 776, which is made up of an organization of girls who are learning leadership skills, leading to a brighter future.
We sell cookies because they are delicious. But beyond that, we do this to give back to the community, as well as to do activities that contribute to our troop. The Girl Scout cookie business is the largest girl-led entrepreneurship program in the world. We learn the 5 essential skills in the cookie program: goal setting, decision-making, money management, people skills, and business ethics. We learn about supply and demand, advertising, being professional, as well as handling money.
Can you give your name and address, please?
So what's
Your name and address. Okay, you're next.
The money that we earn selling cookies provides troops with the opportunity to have fun. For example, a troop has gone camping and horseback riding. This past year, traveled to Cincinnati and owned badges like Oak Tree and Cybersecurity. And now, as older girls in our service unit, we are beginning to help at events and are becoming role models for younger girls.
Name and address, please.
Evelyn Gold, 101 Alder.
Last year, as junior 6th grade girls in our troop earned our Bronze Award, which is the highest award that a Girl Scout in the junior level can earn. We work along with Rescue Village to raise awareness of their community pet food pantry. As cadets, we can earn the Silver Award, which is the highest award cadets can earn. We hope to give back even more to our community. My name is Avery Ellis, 55 Maple Hill Drive.
We would like permission to hold drive-through cookie booths at South Russell Village Hall. A booth at South Russell Village Hall would provide a large parking area that lots of people would drive by. We would have cars enter off of Chillicothe. Troops would have signs next to Chillicothe if approved. The booth would be in the main parking lot where there would be a table to set up with cookies. Troops might bring a tent if the weather isn't great, and cars would exit onto Bell. And I'm Jade from 100 Champion Lane. One troop would be at Village Hall at a time. Each troop would have a 3-hour time slot. Booths would be during the day on weekends in March. We would let the village know that dates and the time troop would want a booth to get approval and advice. We are asking for a booth for a troop on Saturday, March 15th from noon to 4. Macy Anthill, 944 Bell.
Thank you.
2 to 5 Girl Scouts accompanied by 2 registered adults would be at each booth. Because this is a girl-led business, the Girl Scouts would talk to the customers, handle money, and handle the cookies. Adults would hand things back and forth. Girls would not approach the cars, and all trash would be removed after the booth because one of the mottos of the Girl Scouts is leave a place better than you found it.
Thank you for your time. We hope you'll help us realize our goals by allowing us to sell cookies at South Russell Village Hall.
Anything else, girls, that you forgot you'd like to say? Questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I happen to have the application for the reservation in front of me. So the application states March 8th, and I heard in the presentation March 15th. So I'm just wondering if we got a date.
101 Overwood, I may have put the wrong date, let me. It's the 15th.
15th,
Yeah.
okay, so I will fix that for the 15th. Okay, and I also have a sketch of, and it was mentioned that the traffic would enter off of Chillicothe and exit off of Bell, and the sketch says the opposite. So, just so we get our paperwork right.
We would want, entering off of Chillicothe, and then exiting onto Bell.
Okay.
And Chris, I just want to make an editorial comment. I understand that the troop has also said basically that if that's not satisfactory with the police department, that you're open to any modifications.
Absolutely, and this was also an ask on the behalf of all of the troops. And so, additional applications might get put in by other troops.
Okay, well, I just so that when Chief Rizzo comes to me and says, that's not what they said they were gonna do. Okay, so I have my paperwork in order now. So, other questions?
For the farmer's market, we block off exit onto Chillicothe because of the traffic. It's something you may want to consider
And we would be
if you
open
bring
to
them in
anything that's
and loop
recommended.
them around.
You know, it's like better than we do.
Yeah, some
I'll
people.
take a look at it and make contact.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Any other comments or questions?
My daughter got a gold award, and she was on the same path as you all, bronze, silver, and then up to gold. And it took quite a bit of effort on her part. I'm glad to see that the Girl Scouts are doing this and will continue to do so. Very good.
We have had probably 25 scouting projects now. A neighbor girl was one of those that got a gold award. Most of those girls were in her wedding party too, so you have something to look forward to. Not too soon, your moms, but if you get to that point where you're looking for that gold project, let us know. We would appreciate the opportunity to work with you. All right, Mr. Berger, a motion?
Okay, I have a motion to approve use of the village campus by Girl Scout NEO Troop 70671 on Saturday, March 15th from 9 a.m. to noon for sale of Girl Scout cookies to raise funds for the troop pending receipt of the organization's certificate of insurance and authorizing the mayor to sign the application thereof. So moved.
Second.
We're going to pause for a minute. I think we had somebody just. Miss, okay. Can you give us your name and address?
Claire, 3504 Cannon Road.
Welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
This application that we have is from Troop 70671, and you're from Troop 71359, is that correct?
I believe they're all in the Chagrin Falls. There must be another troop who was put in an
So-
application.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, so this application, I think, is for a different troop, Chris. I think this is.
Okay,
for-
well, that would
Maybe that
confuse
would
me.
explain the age, and then they're here, so you didn't do an application yet, right?
Did you put it? We have not actually. put it
Okay, so
down.
there's
sorry.
two troops
We have two people working on this project and we, no,
on two different
no,
dates.
I just assumed each other had done it,
Okay.
which is why we didn't answer that we had.
71359, okay, so let me amend the motion.
But then do we also have to approve this other troop? Because I think she said the different troops want to do the same thing, but different weekends. So I think then technically there's two we have one with a request from Troop
Okay.
70671 and also a request from Troop 71359, one for the 8th and one for the 15th.
Okay, so let me get the dates right. So we'll amend for Girl Scout Troop 70671 for Saturday, March 8th, from 9 to noon. And we'll do them one at a time. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to approve use of village campus by Girl Scout NEO Troop 71359 on Saturday, March 15th, 2025, from 9 to noon for sale of Girl Scout cookies to raise funds for the troop pending receipt of the organization's certificate of insurance and authorizing the mayor to sign the application when it shows up.
Second.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Question on that. You said 9 to noon. I thought I heard a 12 to 4 out there. Am I hearing things wrong?
We were 12 to 4.
Because they're doing
But we're happy with whatever time,
Okay.
honestly, we're not.
Oh, so the original application you had is 9 to noon. They said 12 to 4.
Okay, so we will amend their application to 12 to 4. Okay. So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much for coming. This is a good time to sneak out the door and go home.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yeah. Where were peanut butter
So
cookies?
2 different weekends I can drive through.
Because I'm like, this is so awesome, but that's but this one I don't have very content.
We're now at the mayor's report. Just to report on the burn, park burn, which is coming up. On our next council meeting on February the 24th, Sean Davis, our fire prevention officer, will be here to talk about an agreement with Chagrin Valley Fire Department to use what's called First Due. It's a type of software program, normally costs $3,000. They've got to give to us for nothing. So we'll have some paperwork and some comments on that. And while we have him here, we'll also talk about the burn and hopefully get a motion. Solicitor, the Park District kind of disclosed with this. There's no written agreement. Can you draw up something? I think we should have something.
Some sort of agreement with the park
Some
district?
sort of agreement with the Park District.
My firm might be conflicted out.
Oh,
We would
that's
probably
fine.
have to get informed consent from both sides to represent both, since we
All
don't
right,
work
you
the
know
park
what?
district as well.
We'll talk tomorrow
Okay.
and figure it out.
Yep.
Okay, that's it for the mayor's report. Questions of the mayor? Fiscal officer, you're up.
In my report to council, if you saw that picture I gave you of the Text My Gov and all the red dots of all of the residences that will be covered, that we have phone numbers for the first text to go out on Friday will be the first text to everybody within that map, and then they can opt out if they so choose. So we're excited about the possibilities this will offer the village. For example, if there's a power outage in Lake Louise, we can just pull the Lake Louise section on the map and notify those people that there's a power outage, or if there's a water main break in a different neighborhood, we can pull those people and just tell them. So it has a lot of possibilities, and we're very excited to get it going. And the chief has been, of course, phenomenal at all the tech stuff, and he's got the widget on the website, so it's been great. And I think within the first hour, we had 35 people sign up from our social media. So it's been good. I want to let you know that we did receive the $1,500 NOPEC sponsorship grant for the Fall Festival. And then the last thing, I just had a question, Mayor. At the last meeting, you said something about a hike on May 21st. Is that a public hike? Is that something the park committee is doing?
Park committee, I don't think knows it yet.
Oh, okay.
But
So
yeah,
there's more information to come on that?
yes, yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Questions of the fiscal officer? Okay, finance committee.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Finance will be meeting, our next meeting will be February 21st at 3:15 at the hall.
Questions of the finance.
There will, I'm sorry. And there will also be a treasury meeting held on February 21st 24th at 3:15, also at the hall. Mark, anything to add?
What's the date?
For the treasury meeting?
Yes,
24th.
I will not be here. I think I'm being excused, I hope.
Well, you're not on the committee,
No.
so you were coming as a guest, but he's gonna be out of town.
Okay, fine.
I'll make the next one.
Okay, fine. Okay, I think that's it.
Questions of the finance committee? Hearing none. Solicitor?
I have nothing to report.
Questions of the solicitor? Engineer, you're up.
Not much to report. We are working on the Bell Road East paving project. We're in design. There's also been some correspondence with NOACA about our bicycle and pedestrian money, which I just responded to them. I'm available at all 3 days and times they proposed. So we'll have a conference call with the mayor and NOACA and ODOT on the status of that. And we talked at our utilities committee meeting on Friday afternoon about the roadway, but mostly the drainage in the Hazelwood area. And I think utilities committee is going to update council on what we talked about for their report. And that's really all I have, unless there's any questions.
You want to mention the salt barn?
Oh, sure. Well, I don't have any of the dates with me. But yes, we are scheduled to solicit, since this is going to be a design build proposal, we are scheduled to solicit statements of qualifications for interested design build firms. Was it March? Early March.
Hold on, I'll consult the notes.
Okay.
These are legible.
Let me, in the meantime, let me find and see if I can find my dates. I know I sent out an email.
You said advertise for February 15th to February 28th.
Okay,
Minimum requirements, March 24th.
correct,
Contract award in April.
correct,
In service presumably fall of this year.
correct. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, sir.
That's enough. Questions of the engineer? Street commissioner, you're up.
That's one of my monthly report. I have nothing further.
Questions of the street commissioner?
Yeah, really quickly, I've read some neighboring communities having trouble with their salt supply. And then I thought about how we had an overabundance of salt in the beginning of the winter. I was curious, are we making a pretty decent dent in that? Was in the current dome?
So in the current dome, we're about 6 feet off the back wall, straight in.
Okay.
And then we still have the sides, and I still have a balance of the 1,000-ton order to make.
Okay.
So we're still in good shape.
Still significant salt in there. We may have to transfer if we don't get a lot of winter weather
So transfer into the new
to
dome.
the new structure.
I won't transfer anything from the old dome into the new dome. When we do our contract in the spring and renew, I'll just order that amount and have them put it directly in the new dome. And then we'll continue to take it out of the old until it's gone and then make our move there rather than handle the material twice.
Worked out to have a lousy winter.
Any other questions of the street commission? Street committee?
Street committee, in the absence of the chair, I have nothing to report. And prior to our departure, we did not arrive at the next meeting date of the committee. So that remains to be determined.
Okay, questions of the street committee? Building committee, Mark, can you take care of this one since Ruth isn't here?
Yes, the chair is absent and we haven't set our next building committee meeting. However, I saw Danielle's report about the copier for the building department, and I think that's up for consideration.
Yeah, that's under ordinances, we have learned from that.
Do the motion to renew Gallagher.
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to extend the service agreement with Gallagher Architects, Inc. for building plans and examination services for 1 year from the retroactive date of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, which extension Gallagher Architects Inc. agrees. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. You caught that 25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Mark. Questions of the building committee? Hearing none. Chief, you're up.
I submitted a month-end report, and I have nothing in addition to that.
Questions of the chief? Safety committee, you're up.
Safety Committee will meet this Thursday, February the 13th at 8 a.m. in the police department. Anything from Councilman Kalicki?
Nothing to add. Thanks, Chris.
HR committee, you're up.
All right, HR Committee, let's see here. As you saw in your packet, ordinances, resolutions, also in the fiscal office report, we have something in there for transferring the availability of the Roth 457 plan for employees over to the Ohio Deferred Compensation, because they offer it now and it's less expensive to the village to run it through there as opposed to FMA. Other than that, our next meeting is tomorrow morning, February the 11th at 7:30 a.m. here in Village Hall. Any remarks from Councilman Berger? That's all I have.
None, thank you.
It's possible training, in-service training for staff on the agenda for tomorrow, as far as,
Can be.
okay, we got it. All right, thank you. Property committee, Chris, you have other things for your property committee?
Only to note that the next meeting of the property committee will be, according to me, February 18th at 9 a.m. I believe that's correct.
That is,
Okay, other than that, subject to Councilman Galicki's comments.
nothing further, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, kind of pausing here. Chief, if we had a terrible rain day on the Girl Scout cookie day, would you be, are you gonna be the victim or the contact for the cookies? I'm just thinking as far as canceling it or even opening a garage door for them to be in out of the weather. We should, maybe we could talk about this later.
Yeah, I'm not certain that would be a good idea for liability reasons, opening a garage up. If they're bringing tents, I mean, if they're planning on bringing tents, I think they should be protected, but I would say if it's severe weather, you might want to consider canceling it. I'm concerned about liability.
We'll pray for sunshine.
All right.
Okay, we were at the Parks Committee. Chris, anything on the park?
Okay, no, I'm working with Councilwoman Kavanaugh to schedule a date for the next Parks Committee meeting, that's all.
Questions of the Parks Committee? Public utilities.
Public utilities met February 7th. The nice and typed minutes are in your package. Just one thing, a couple of highlights that we thought would bring to council's attention. First is the central retention basin, and we discussed the issue of the resident who's directly south of central retention basin. There's those three homes right off right off 306 that are right next door. And the question was, should the village plant some trees to help screen the properties that are over there? The resident feels quite strongly that he was promised some kind of screening. I went through the council meeting minutes that he referenced, and I don't see any express, unambiguous promise that this would be done. However, the committee thinks that the planting should be done. Up to 7 evergreens should be planted at the places that are designated by the homeowners for the purposes of screening. The estimated cost is similar to what we did over on Manor Brook, which is about $1,000 per tree. It'd be a stormwater expense, and we would look to the street commissioner to arrange for the plantings in the spring. And as a note as well, the resident we're talking about also brought up the lights at the cemetery, the 2 small lights on the brick wall, and the committee's entertained his request that they be turned off. We declined that. We think they should stay on because primarily it's a safety issue because it marks the wall as people drive by. And it's likely that it may prevent people from running into the wall to go off the road or something of that sort. So with that, we would probably recommend the council approve the trees and a motion to be made later this evening.
All right, questions of the Public Utility Committee?
Yeah, the one question I have is, I'd like to remind council that, you know, in order to accommodate a single resident, we have already expended in excess of $40,000 to modify the design of that retention basin. Now, that was an expense borne by the village to accommodate a desire, okay? And this same property owner has assumed use of village property for his own particular use. I believe there's a garden that's planted in the far reach of his yard, which is actually on village property. Now he's asking for screening. I would offer that, given the fact that this is primarily for the benefit of one resident, that we be very critical in our evaluation of the need to plant trees. There was no promise. You know, perhaps this is an expense that should be borne to the by the property owner, given the fact he's looking for privacy screening. I would offer that there are members of the Kensington Green community who, when they put up the lantern, there was no offer of screening, light issues, or anything. And, you know, perhaps that's something that the HOA should have addressed at the time. But nevertheless, I'm wondering whether it's a valid issue for the village to be responding to with respect to satisfy the requests of one resident. The other thing that I just wanted to add is, could you give us a little flavor on item 5, which is almost $1 million of stormwater mitigation on Hazelwood?
Sure. That was my next item. The committee discussed what might be done for mitigation in that area. We've already moved along with the process of putting the pipe in between basically South Russell and Russell, and that's going to help considerably. However, the next street up, Hazelwood, and in that area right up from Fairview, certainly has issues with their installed drainage, which evidently dates from the 1950s, thereabouts.
When those homes were built, it's a hodgepodge of underground piping.
And the idea here is that the pipe between Russell and South Russell is sort of the cork in the bottle. And if we can get that situation straightened out, as we plan on doing this year.
This summer.
Yep, that upstream, we can address a hodgepodge of storm water piping that the residents and various other people have installed over the years and make the flow better in that area, so it reduces flooding in that area. The sticker shock is considerable, I will agree.
Well, there was my estimate for replacing the just wholesale replacement of the storm sewer and improving it as we do is I think you should budget about $500,000 for that. The roadway paving was another. That was the other basically half. That was the $400,000 for roadway paving, and that's something that we've had on the 5-year look ahead for the road program for a handful of years now. I would recommend that if we go ahead and if we're considering a storm sewer improvement / replacement along Hazelwood, we tie that in with the paving of the road, because a storm sewer project is a really great ask for OPWC. And if we have a storm sewer project that's followed immediately by roadway paving, because we're going to be certainly crossing the street and cutting across in several locations, that I can ask for OPWC money, an OPWC match for the entire project, not just a match for the storm sewer project, and then we're on the hook to pave it all later. So if it's one combined project with the emphasis being on the stormwater, we could potentially get some match money for paving as well.
You know, Eric, I don't know the extent of all the hodgepodge systems in that neighborhood, but is this something that should be addressed by, what was the thing that Chuck Walder introduced?
Oh, the
ESID. Should this be, given it's on private property?
It's in public, it's in
It's
the right of way.
Okay, so I understand. My concern was where the hodgepodge was
It's
and where.
right along the edge of the road.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but yeah, we're thinking along the same line.
Okay, thanks a lot.
If it was on private property, it would be a different matter.
Absolutely.
However, the 880,000 price tag could be cut in half, as the engineer has succeeded in the past with other projects. He makes no promises, nor do I, about whether that might happen, but this is one of several big ticket items that the village is undertaking over the last 5-10 years and going into the future too. If you had told me 20 years ago we'd be thinking about $1 million bike path on Bell Road, I would have been surprised, to put it mildly, but that may indeed happen. So this is another one of those. And it'll solve for a long time flooding issues in that neighborhood.
Right.
Although there's a complication with the cedar tree at the corner.
Well, that's a condition that exists right now. And that condition exists right now in large part because the subsurface drainage system isn't working properly. If we size that right, get the water to be able to flow into the subsurface drainage, I think that problem resolves itself. In the meantime, maybe there's some things we can do to improve that situation, make it better, because this isn't a next year, it may not even be the year after project, but just, I'm looking ahead. This is something that we should be talking about now, because in the coming 2 or 3 years, the time will be on us to act.
And final thing for public utilities is the Sugar Bush Pond dredge issue. The 32,000 quote was received, Danielle, I think it said rejected on the typed copy. We received a 32,000 quote for that project. And the engineer pointed out that it's a man-made pond. So like Parkland, it could be simply drained and returned to a meadow and a stream, though I doubt the residents would be in favor of that. But I bring it to council's attention, along with Councilman Canton, because it might be something that we might be willing to split with the homeowners, if the homeowners are agreeable to that. But it's one of our first forays into dredging, but we have almost never done that in the past.
So we had some kind of arrangement with the Paw homeowners a couple of 2-3 years ago.
Sugar Bush.
Oh, sorry, Sugar Bush homeowners 2 or 3 years ago, where we assisted them financially in dredging out their forebay or their silt pond.
Yeah.
And they raised concern that, okay, this is great now, but you guys are doing a whole bunch of earthwork upstream from us, and what happens if this fills up once again? And it seems like it has. Can I definitively say that every particle of dirt and silt in that pond is because of the work we did at Manor Brook? No. Is it likely that it's all because of that? No. Certainly there's exposed stream channel between our Manor Brook work site and the Sugar Bush Pond. But the Manor Brook, the Manor Brook stream restoration site most likely contributed some siltation of that settling pond that Sugar Bush has. So,
and thus the recommendation that perhaps we consider splitting it with the homeowners, as we have done with others in the past. It's not our fault necessarily. But as the engineer says, we may have contributed to it. Therefore, we should be involved in making it better. So we offer that to council's consideration. This is not something we need to do this month. In fact, we probably shouldn't do it this month. It would be more like a summertime thing, and perhaps the mayor can be authorized to approach the Sugar Bush people and find out if they might be interested in this approach.
So for clarification, this pond is on private property.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that would potentially fit the bill of an ESID,
Yes.
just as we discussed in one of our adjacent neighborhoods here early on.
100% correct.
So that could be a solution as well without the expenditure of public funds.
Possible. Maybe the mayor would broach that topic with them as well.
Okay.
Couple questions, Mark. The Hazelwood stormwater for 2027 projection right now. Is that 100% in South Russell, or is it also in Russell, similar to the one this year?
The pipe goes between the two.
Okay.
That's the first one we're doing this year.
No, I think Chris is talking about the Hazelwood storm sewer, the $500,000
In
Hazelwood storm
2027,
sewer project.
I'm not sure where.
It's in the village. That water doesn't, at least in the current system, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think any of that water makes its way out Hazelwood to the far west end. I think it kind of comes together, and where that big cedar tree is and the guy's got that small little pond, I think it kind of converges there, tries to get around / under / over the road into the bigger drainage ditch and flow and
Across Hemlock
and
to-
flow out Hemlock, right?
Hemlock to Russell.
But all of the proposed storm sewer and paving work that I've got outlined and kind of scoped and preliminary estimated for Hemlock, it's 100% in South Russell Village.
Okay. It kind of thought I had in my brain as we were talking about that was Eric mentioned OPWC potential grant 2027. Just out of curiosity, do either of you know who funds OWPC grants? Is it all state funded, or are there federal funds that come in to help
I
fund
think
those?
they're all state.
I would say state.
Okay.
Though I doubt very much they turn down federal money.
Well, I think that.
My question is, will the money be there?
Will the money be there with the federal cut?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not that.
I mean, we have to apply, we have to get approved.
Right.
We have a lot of steps we have to follow, but part of what Public Utilities has been doing the last 5-10 years is long-range stuff.
Right.
So where it's on our radar, whether we get the funding or not, we don't know. And that might impact whether we do it or not.
Oh, correct.
Even near-term projects, I was wondering if that would affect us, but if it's all state funded, it's different.
That's all for Public Utilities unless Councilman Cannon has more to add.
Questions of the public utilities? All right, some comments. I guess we did not have a motion to plant these trees. We had a discussion. I guess I would ask everybody, it's the house, first house, if you went from here, it's the first house there, to take a look at that situation. As far as the trees, I wholeheartedly agree with you on the cemetery lights. I mean, but take a look at, I don't know what you could possibly do to block it, but let's take a look at that.
You want
So we
to
can
wait on the
discuss-
motion?
Yeah, can we wait till the next meeting?
I'll be gone, but.
Everything's falling on you.
That's fine.
All right, so we could hold off, if we
I mean,
could
we
hold
can
off,
hold off till March.
let everybody take a look at the situation.
If I may make a comment about this. The lights, the cemetery, approximately how far is that house from the lights, did you say?
Quarter of a mile?
No, not that, I don't think it's that far.
I would say they're 300 feet off the road, so I would say that's gotta be another 300.
If I'm not mistaken, initially, the homeowner wanted us to place trees there to block the lights initially. Is that correct?
Don't recall that.
I think so.
It could be right, I don't recall.
I think so. Now, I made this comment at our meeting, PUC meeting. The other day, I was looking out our window, the kitchen, and happened to see the garage lights on at our neighbor's condo, and wow, maybe I should go over there and tell him to shut it off. So I went over there. And he goes, none of your business, you get off my property. I suggest the gentleman who owns the home don't look out the window. Number one. Number two, the trees, Councilman Galecki was correct about that property, that there's a garden being grown there. We brought that up at the meeting also. But Councilman Porter made a good point that we did, how many trees were planted at Manor Brook?
I think 14 instead of 15.
Okay, so
Oh, and 3 in the notch.
we planted trees out of courtesy of the people who were living there, and perhaps a good neighbor policy might be to plant a few trees for the gentleman adjacent to our property. But that was just thrown out. That was just, let's talk about it.
And Jerry, the only thing that I would say is that Manor Brook, there's a greater good for a neighborhood
That's true.
with respect to that.
That is true.
It's not an individual per se that is benefiting. And just like the neighbor could tell you, you don't like looking at my lights, plant a couple of trees. Well, you wouldn't go to the village to say, I want you to plant some trees because the neighbor is annoying me, or I don't like that view. But quite frankly, the property owner has the ability to, and I assume that he's looking to plant the trees on his property where he has staked it. So I question the use of public funds to make improvements to private property. But again, the landowner can do whatever he wants to his own property to improve his feeling of privacy and view.
So we take it up at the next meeting in February?
Yeah, or you know what, we'll be back in March, let's do it in March, gives everybody a chance to take a look. Yeah, Dennis, I agree, I don't know how many trees you can put up to replace what's gone. A couple of comments, Hazelwood, one of the things we're running into with Hazelwood is, one of the gentlemen that lives there is putting on a nice sized addition to his house. And the neighbors came, this was at, I think it was a BZA meeting or whatnot. And they told the stories. There used to be, where the gentleman has his garage, there used to be a pond there. And the neighbor girls used to swim in the pond. So you're talking about a lot of water used to flow through there. And on Hazelwood, that's where they have houses that are 10 feet apart. And that used to be a field, and now you have houses and concrete and lawns. So they're getting a tremendous amount of water. And it's, the guy at 139, he's gonna put a big addition, but all that water comes right at it, so we'll have to be careful and work with him and the architect, I think, to protect it. Last thing, I can't recall, I got an email and a phone call from the state representatives of people saying, do you guys want anything or need anything? Is there anything you'd like me to put in the budget? It was like, checkbook is wide open. So I mentioned it to Eric, and we've been talking about it. Things that jumped to my mind were paving. We couldn't do anything for Bell Road, but say, if we said we want to do the whole Bellwood neighborhood in 2027, it's probably going to need it by then anyway. That was the thought. That would be expensive, but if we're looking at something smaller, we got 7 rotting garage doors and we got a bad floor in the street department. Maybe that's something that we could do. So at the finance meeting, I forget when you're having that.
The 21st.
21st. The money, the request is due on March the 7th, so we have time. But it's been very rare when someone said, hey, do you need any money? Do you need anything? So let's think about this and come with ideas at the finance committee meeting.
About $440,000 for Hazelwood.
There we go. That may be it right there. Okay,
Now we get OPWC money.
We can absolutely combo mix and match.
Cost to us, zero.
That's a realistic, that can be done, yes.
okay, we're now turning everything over to the Jerry Canton show. Of ordinance resolutions. In fact, Jerry, I'm giving you an extra one.
Which one is that?
This one here, you did it, you started it originally, and it's a second reading, but since you had started, it's, yeah, yeah, second reading. on the grant. I was gonna have Mark do it, but since you started, let's have you finish it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Second reading of an ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC 2025 Community Grant.
Do we need to have a third reading? We just, move to approve tonight?
You could, you'd have to waive the third reading.
Go ahead, see, wait for the reading.
Waive the third reading, move to adopt.
Okay, and waive the third reading and move to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky, Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Move to adopt. Move to adopt.
Second.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Ordinance passes, we get $16,000 for anything we want to do is energize our community. All right, Jerry?
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance employing USI Midwest LLC as insurance agent for the village of South Russell, declaring an emergency and motion to suspend further reading.
Second.
Roll call.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Ordinance passed.
Introduce and consider for adoption ordinance authorizing the 2025 property and casualty insurance with public entities pool of Ohio and declaring an emergency and motion to suspend further reading.
Second.
Roll call.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Mark, I'll let you do this one since it's a building department.
Sure, I'd like to introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance approving the sales order agreement and maintenance contract between the Village of South Russell and Lake Business Products for the purchase and maintenance of a copier, waiving the connectivity and network support fee portion of the agreement, authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement, declaring an emergency, move to waive further reading.
Need a second?
Second.
Second, roll call.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Chris Berger.
Introduce and consider for adoption a resolution adopting the Roth 457 plan under the Ohio Public Employees Deferred Compensation Program administered by the Ohio Public Employees Deferred Compensation Board for participation by eligible employees of the Village of South Russell, declaring an emergency, waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye. Move to adopt.
Second.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Back to you, Jerry.
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance amending the annual appropriation, increasing street maintenance fund expenses, $15,000. Safety fund expenses, $140,203.56. Income tax transfer, $65,000. Special land and building fund expenses, $23,450. Val East Capital Fund, expenses $71,855.03, and decreased road and bridge fund expenses $15,000, and declaring an emergency and motion to suspend further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Jerry, you got the next three.
Next two.
Next two, and then the bills list, yeah.
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance transferring up to $50,000 from the income tax fund to the special land and building fund, and up to $15,000 from the income tax fund to the Bell Road East Capital Fund, and declaring an emergency and motion to suspend further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Motion to adopt. Motion to adopt.
Second.
Hinton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Ordinance passes.
Okay, introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance transferring from the income tax fund to the safety fund up to $1,250,000, operating fund up to $165,000. Street maintenance fund up to $598,769. Special building and land fund up to $170,000. General fund up to $250,000. Park and recreation fund up to $3,500, and large equipment fund up to $100,000, and declaring an emergency, and motion to suspend further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Hinton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Hinton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. We're at the bills list.
Bills list, motion to ratify the bills list of January 30th, 2025, in the amount of $44,475.78.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. New other, nice job.
Canton, New Other,
None.
Kalicky,
None.
Porter,
None.
Paul,
None.
Berger.
None.
Stacy, you want to read this one? Go into executive session.
Oh, that's me. I defer to the chair. Next to streets and buildings. I'd like to make a motion to enter an executive session for the purpose of conferring with the solicitor regarding pending litigation involving the village pursuant of section 121.22G3 of the Ohio Revised Code, and inviting into the executive session the mayor, the police chief, the fiscal officer, and the solicitor.
The salute.
Second.
Canton,
Aye.
Kalicky,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
All right, we're in the executive session. Can we go in at like 2 minutes?